All right, everybody, it's our Klaus here, and I'm very excited to be doing this video today. It's been about 3 months since I've had a chance to put together a presentation for all of you, so needless to say, it's going to cover a tremendous amount of ground. For those of you not familiar with my channel, the particular line of research I do involving symbolism, gematria, all sorts of other more or less non-conventional research methods. It could seem overwhelming, disjointed, off the wall, all sorts of things that might make you feel inclined to be dismissive towards what I'm presenting, and all I can really do is urge you to view this information with an open mind. It is not intended to be absolute. It is just my relative interpretation of all of these seemingly disconnected pieces. But what I do intend to show you is that they are all very tightly interwoven and are part of a much larger blueprint to help usher in something much greater than any of them individually. So with all that being said, also let's consider the fact that of all the things in the world you could be doing right now, all the videos you could be watching, you are right here with me going over this information. So with all of that being said, let's get right into everything today, because I've got some major ground to cover in connecting this film father figures to Cardi B, Katt Williams, and a potential game-changing event off in the horizon here. So we'll elaborate on all of that more as we go. Very first thing here, though, let's draw some connections. So Father Figures, bizarre movie, was released on December 22nd of 2017. So on the left side of your screen here, you can see how that date's important. It does reduce down to that 222. Of course, this is the 222nd year since vaccines have existed in a mainstream way, and something that I've looked at a lot, right? Vaccination as being the mark of the beast. Of course, it does have the coding 4666 as well. All sorts of compelling things that we've looked at. But so in any case, notice here that same date, December 22nd, is when Cardi B's single Cardi Bartier was released. And the connections here are going to go much deeper than that. Let's look at this, though. So Father Figures is a film about two twins trying to find the truth about their father and the origin of them, this and that. And what I want to show you here is just the importance of twins throughout mythology, right? And particularly the idea of them representing the duality, right? The dualistic nature of the universe. You can see here the example they give of Apollo and Artemis, Apollo being adopted from as the sun god, and Artemis as the moon goddess, right? Representing these opposite ends or of the whole, this kind of perfect union sort of idea that we always talk about. So look down here as well. You can see throughout mythology, in Greek and Roman, it is absolutely major, but as well throughout others, the very prominent role that they play in things. And so again, just this idea of duality, of course, with the Masonic checkers on Cardi B's debut album cover here, invasion of privacy. There is a lot to be said, right? And so Cardi, of course, has something to say about it.
But y'all want to blame the success on motherfucking Illuminati. You wear a checker shit, Illuminati. Triangle, Illuminati. Oh, motherfucking, I do a video with...
All right, so and I am going to put her on blast for Orange Pyramid later on in this video, but with good reason, and I'll show you when we get there. But again, just her, right, being mindful of all these connections with, right, the checkerboards, and she did have that on full display on her 4/7 performance on SNL. So again, a lot to consider there, and I'll talk more about her character as we get into everything here. But so another interesting thing to note, because we are connecting all of this to Katt Williams, who is in the movie Father Figures, but of course all of this connecting to Cardi as well. His current comedy tour started on April 6th this year, of course the same day that Cardi's album was released. But so thinking back to him being in Father Figures, it's interesting because he's listed as playing just a hitchhiker who is picked up on the journey. Of course, he does go on to essentially represent the universe, and we are going to look into all of that coding here in just a moment. But do take a look at this here. It's a clip from the very end of the movie. Oh, let's see.
By the way, the Illuminati is real.
All right, so, and again, very just bizarre ending for the movie in general. Of course, he does introduce himself as the universe there. And so let's take a look at some things back here in the coding. So Katt Williams, you can see on the left side of the screen, does have this coding for the big joke of Illuminati. Of course, that being the way that the movie ends. Very interesting, right? So take a look through all of that there. You do have references to the planet Saturn, Antichrist. Very interesting. And down below, right, Liber Alvel Legis, Book of the Law. All of these major pieces here. I've covered all of these numbers so much in the past that I really don't want to spend a tremendous amount of time on them. But so feel free to pause and look through here. And of course, on the right side of your screen, for those of you who remember a couple years back, I did a video involving Katt Williams and Sade, again, talking about this big game-changing event to come across the horizon, and the coding did appear differently back then. So very interesting. On the left side is the updated, the right side is the older, and of course it's just very interesting because that old coding did have him line up there with, right, Pez Theory, Donald Trump, etc. So we'll talk more on that later. Down below here you can see the coding for Father Figures. Again, I'm going to have you just kind of look through this here. This is just laying the ground because these connections coming up are much more compelling, but this is all very important to have around. Again, ideas such as big picture, hexagram name, 93, again, the master Thelemic number, Our Lady Babylon, massive for this plot, Judgment Days, so on and so forth, okay? So take a look here again. Now you can see the universe. And this is a really big deal. Not only do you see my name, book 77 reference there, which is Liber Oz, as well as geriatric shit, tying us into the Get Out coding that I showed you. Again, you see just a huge number here that the universe represents. But so take a look here. You do see these references to the apocalypse and global control, right? The universe, light worker, on and on. But what I want you to also see here is it does share coding for orange pyramid. So again, remember that I was saying that the same day that Father Figures came out, Cardi Bartier came out. Now, to be fair, this image that I want to show you here of this orange pyramid, right? This video did not come out until April 2nd, and I'll show you some interesting dates with that in just a moment here. But, right, the song itself does come out, that coding there, and again, just these connections. And the orange pyramid is just, it's really worth noting, especially in conjunction here with the water being across from it, orange being the sun color. And again, this idea of sudden change. So very important symbolism there. And as well, Cardi's real name does line up with Knight of Cups coding, and I'll get into all of that. But again, this duality of everything there, there's a reason that the oranges are placed alongside the water there, because that is part of that dualistic symbolism that she seems to be so heavily embedded with. So now let's take a look at some more Katt Williams stuff here. His most recent stand-up special is called Great America. The coding for it I have all the way at the bottom here. You can see that value of 322 coming up with it. But so what I do want you to see here is that it was released on January 16th. Again, you can mirror and invert that. You do get the 9/11. And what I want you to see here, the coding for Katt Williams Great America, you have the next world, this world needs to go, I am the end of everything, this reference to sun worshipper. Now here we have blow off Trump's head and world conquest. Okay, down below, President Trump killed. and this reference to the date of April 24th. So now if we look between when this is released on January 16th to April 24th, it's a total of 99 days. Now that's very fascinating because, right, that coding, we have Rapture, the event, Pale Horse, Cardi B shot actually shares that simple value as well. And so does Hitchhiker, right? Katt Williams' character in Father Figures. And so all very, very fascinating to consider. And especially when I show you down here that Cardi B's Jewish coding is 99 as well. It's just a very, very compelling thought. Now, let's keep looking at this, though, because 99 days translates to 14 weeks in 1 day, so 141. Now, very interestingly, that is the same coding as Variolae vaccinae, which was the first vaccination, okay? It's also the same as World War III, the Dark Messiah, False Prophet, Will of Thelema, okay? All of these huge pieces, with this ushering in here, the Devourer, off with his head, okay, Age of Aquarius, big pieces. Now, if we look at this Katt Williams comedy tour, the way that it's listed out on his page here, you do see that it has same coding as Freemasons of the Illuminati, end of the world as we know it, right? So this current existence of things. You also have April 2018. Okay, very interesting with that April 24th in there as well. So you also get the coding for 9/11 was a satanic sacrifice, all right? So let's keep moving through here. As I noted, Katt Williams' tour and Cardi's album both came out on the same day. That would be April 6th, okay? So if we look at the time in between those, in between Katt Williams' Great America and the start of his tour and the release of her album on April 6th, it's 81 days, and that translates as 2 months, 22 days, all right? So there's our 222 again, and as we'll get to in just a second here, Cardi B's English value, right, is that nice 222 as well. So very big connections here, but if we just stick with this 81, you notice it has the same values as Masons, Horus, Tower. Cardi's real name has 16 letters in it. It's the Tower card. You also have the references to sex magic, black magic, the blood, and ritual. Okay, so major pieces come out with this number, and especially in connection with just the energy embodied in her. Again, if we look at the color orange, it does have a lot of sexual energy tied into it. And of course, all of that being so very big with the symbolic nature of all this. And again, in my previous videos, I've talked about the huge role that, that energy plays in things, the adult film industry, pornography, so forth, and of course, everything, how that is now manifesting. We see with everyone still talking about Stormy Daniels. And I highly advise you check out my videos on ass worship in America, because again, it's just fascinating. So in any case, let's keep moving here. Katt Williams' tour goes from April 6th to June 10th. It's a period of 66 days, okay? 66, a major number. It's going to come up later here. You also see that translates as 9 weeks, 3 days. There's that Master 93 for you again. Now, if we look from, the release of Great America to the end of this tour, it's 146 days. The reason I have that nice exclamation point there is because 146 is the simple value for the universe. Okay, so all of that looping back there again. So just very interesting to me. Notice as well here, Cardi and Katt Williams, both reportedly 5 foot 5 inches. It's interesting to me. It's kind of funny. 55 is a God number, so that's why I always tune in with that. Now let's look at this again now. Let's start tying back into the Cartier music video. So Katt Williams 116 date to the release of Cartier, or the Cardi B Cartier video on April 2nd is 77 days, all right, or 11 weeks. So again, 11 is the just, chief magic number, all right, and is especially associated with negative energy because of that being the number of points on the Qliphoth, the inverted tree of life, so on, right? All these things we've discussed in the past. So keep moving here, though, because Katt Williams actually presented Cardi B with an award back in October of last year. Let's get
Of
this.
the Year award goes to where we know it should go. Ladies and gentlemen, Cardi B.
Looking like a pudding.
All right, so again, just interesting to me that these two have all of these, kind of ties between them, these interesting dates and numbers. So a big date that we're going to start talking about here, and that I've talked about in the past a lot, is the 23rd of May. So do note from when Katt presented her that award on the 10th of October last year to 523 this year is 32 weeks and 2 days. So, of course, that's that nice 322 there. It's also interesting if we add 10, 10, 17, we get 37, which, again, it's the simple value for Cardi B. But so in any case, something to keep in mind here, May 23 has the same coding as Micah Sierra Williams, which is Katt Williams' real name, as well as the Universe Mobile. So again, from that clip that I played for you in the very beginning of it here, before he takes the call, you do have this nice Universe Mobile here. Of course, the 1111, huge number, the address for Staples Center as well. We did a lot of research on that. But so again, you can look through here, see the fascinating coding. We do get this reference here to 202, 202nd day. Why I'm interested in that, right? If we drop the 0, 22, Master Builder. But it is June 12th, right? Inverted, that's a nice 216. Of course, you get that from 6 times 6 times 6. But interestingly, the time between May 23rd and June 12th is 21 days. 21 is the universe card in the tarot deck, right? So very interesting. Now, just a little bit of recap here on why 523 is so interesting, right? Not only, right, 2 and 3, 5, 5, 5. But because it's the 143rd day and there's 222 days remaining after then, right? So do you remember 143 was the same simple value for father figures? Of course, all the major things tied in with that. And then 222, I'm getting ahead of myself here, is connected here with Cardi B, right? So take a look at this here. Again, all these pieces I've already reiterated, but it's very interesting that this 222 and 37, not only the same as LAX, but Hell, Hades, Flame, Dies, Hex, right, so on, so forth. And it's very interesting to me as well, since we're talking about this Cardi video. You do have the appearance of the hexagram in there. It's very random. It's not on all of these just kind of zombied out dudes, but you do have the hexagrams in there. This is from Bodak Yellow. Get into that in a second here, I suppose. But so let's take a look here. Here's her full name, Belcalis Almanzir, butchered it, sorry. Again, that tower connection there. Go ahead and look through here. Very interestingly, Skull and Bones does come up. President Ass, Rosicrucian, Serpent Devil. And very interestingly here, you start getting into these ideas of the female Jesus, the female Messiah, Sun is Water, Knight of Cups. Again, it's very interesting. This is page 156 in the Book of Thoth. Because, of course, right, 156, the number of Our Lady Babylon. And it's bizarre to me, right? And again, the water bearer connected in with all of this, the Path of Resh, the sun worships, the 19th card. But all of these, Masonic pieces for her here, Messianic, because her Instagram name, right, is I am Cardi B. And of course here, when you look into this, right, I am is often attributed to being one of the names of God, right? One of the ways to refer to it. And if you look through here, there's quite a bit of information saying that is the actual name of God, so on and so forth. And so again, just very fascinating to me that all of that comes up. But what's bizarre is when we put it in contrast with her lyrics. And the fact, I don't know, it bothers me that this does so well in the charts when you just think about the people feeding into this, and it's not them, right? It's just this total dissociative sort of identity that people have, and it's only furthered through all this online world and social this and that now, where everybody makes themselves out to be these things, these people, and it's just so far-fetched. And really Cardi is part of the same low vibration kind of destruction that they're doing as the who that or whatever the fuck she said girl, who does this bad baby thing now. I guarantee play this song from her and then play Cardi's Bodak Yellow and tell me that it's not the same exact thing aimed at a slightly different demographic. Really the same ones. It's just the kid one and the quote-unquote adult one, both on Atlantic. I don't know, it's very disturbing to me. In any case, I'm getting sidetracked here. I don't want to tangent at all. So in any case, very interesting. You can see here, her parents nicknaming her Bacardi, same coding as death, balance, fire. Again, very interesting, because if we go up here with her full name, delivering karma comes out. And of course in the tarot, this associated with the adjustment card. And so again, having everything to do with balance, no idea of justice in nature, right? It's a construct. Again, here 66 does come up in this coding, very important to reference, right? Because we did see earlier on, Katt Williams had that nice 66 pop up somewhere in here. Let's see if there it is. These two are lasting for 66 days. So all right, let me keep going here though. For invasion of privacy, again, reference the number 254. I have it for you over here. That's the same coding as 6-pointed Star of David, which I did show you popping up in that video. Our Lord Jesus Christ, desolations are determined, and rising of the Phoenix. So again, for the coding on our album, you can see references here to the book of Revelation. Our number is 11. No mercy for the sheep, right? The translation of America. Also a lot of other dates, referenced in here, but you do see as well 9/11 part 2. Okay, so very interesting to keep that in mind there. I want to keep tying back to this number of 523 for a second, or this date. Again, part of what makes it interesting, something I think about, is the number 553, because Kennedy was assassinated that many days after Monroe saying happy birthday to him, and of course that wasn't his real birthday when she sang that. A whole video talking about him. It's fascinating. But so in any case, I did want to look at some dates prior to 523. So interestingly, 11/16/2016 is 553 days prior to May 23rd this year. Now it's interesting because 11/16, we can reduce it down to this nice 666 here, and of course it's very close to David Blaine's Beyond Magic airing. Again, all the ways we can break those numbers down, the way that it all connects in there. So I'm going to leave you here with just a handful of dates to look at. These all stemming from 12/22, the release of Father Figures and that Cardi single. But again, very interesting numbers that come out in all of these again. But I do want to start to wrap things up here. I do have this last piece for you. This all, I feel, somehow connects in with this old episode of The Simpsons. It's called To Surveil with Love, and I've got some things here. This is just weird imagery with Cardi B, and this is the Bodak Yellow video, the one that really, I guess, shot her to fame and stardom. This is just interesting. This is from the Bartier Cardi video, obviously, but it was interesting to me that this 9/11 show was popping up as nearest show. In any case, this is from the Simpsons episode I'm talking about, To Surveil with Love. So do note the nice, nuclear explosion here, this cool V coming up, of course, all the symbolism with that. But then you do have this nice shot of Homer here, and this clock, lands right next to him, and you can just easily do this, and clearly on a nice 9/11, they picked the two numbers, that can invert like that. And so there is something connected with this, because to surveil with love, right, connecting with invasion of privacy, Cardi's album, right, it's these ideas are very interesting. But so take a look here for the coding on To Surveil with Love. You do have America's deadliest earthquake, Los Angeles May earthquake, the next big one, earthquake. Remember, that was an article that I looked at from a magazine even, so very interesting. Extinction level event and the manifestation of Satan. So now this episode aired on May 2nd, 2010. It's 8 years and 22 days between then and May 23rd of this year. So of course, 822, huge lax attitude. Remember, that was the article about North Korea and their nuclear guidelines. Of course, they used the word lax. I thought was very odd because, right, LAX, of course, that has the same coding as Cardi, all the things we've looked at. But you also see, again, Washington, D.C., mind control, the path of death, Church of Satan, right, Great Pyramid, all of these huge pieces. And of course, Cardi all the time has been, well, not all the time, since, lately, especially getting all these pieces where, is she mind control puppet, right? You've got this guy Nemesis does this whole breakdown here. She freezes out. Right, and it's, I don't know if she's playing around there when she's doing that, if that's a real thing, right? But of course, everybody's, got their speculative opinions on that. So what I do want to end with here, though, is that is very peculiar to me that this episode, To Surveil with Love, and the final episode, which aired on May 23rd of 2010, are part of the 21st season. So again, we've been talking about the universe and Katt Williams, right? All this stuff. And so that 21 there is very important. So in any case, this last episode in it, it's called Judge Me Tender. And so again, Judgment Days being this big part of this, and again, that was something that we saw come up here with father figures. Again, just to show you, right, this is all still on track. You do have Don J. Trump, as well as the Chosen One, Death Penalty. It's also the same as Trump Pence, as well as Masonic Moon and the Boondocks. So interestingly here, 5/23/2010 to 5/23/2018 is 8 years, 1 day. And it's interesting because Masonic Moon here, so if we look at 8 year, 1 day backwards, it's that nice 18, that moon card, right? All of the interesting things that we've talked about with that. So, I suppose that's about all that I have for you today. Some interesting dates out there, very just interesting state of things right now, to say the least. I'll just click through these here. I'm pretty sure I got to everything I wanted to. Again, it's just a bizarre article for those of you who followed my 138 research, and again, how it's going to be connected with the assassination of Donald Trump here. This random article, seemingly, right, they choose the number 138 things Trump did this year while you weren't looking. And again, 138 being that simple value for Donald Trump, LAX pylons, right? All of these big things here. And how that connects in, again, just I was talking about that last episode of The Simpsons that aired on May 23rd, 2010, Judge Me Tender, happens to have the LAX, right, pylons in it. And so... again, here is a very interesting little scene with Mo. You have these three, right, iconic places: Taj Mahal, Big Ben, Golden Gate Bridge, all destroyed, and then the award goes to the Big Ben one. So, there has been a lot of research on that in the past. That has been a big thing that comes up here. And again, Big Ben would obviously be a coded reference to something. But... it does really fascinate me. The number 234, all of it does connect in here. But, I think I'm going to call that good because that's a lot to take in at this point. There's the 234 for you coming up in Invasion of Privacy. Okay. And so you can see that connected with Big Ben there. It's also, I think, the same as EOS, the egg that she holds in the Cardi Bartier video. So again, it's all about the egg, right? Comes back. So that's what I've got to show you there. I appreciate anybody who is still watching, took the time to watch the video. It's a tremendous amount of information to consider, but as always, very, very fascinating. So thank you all so very much for taking the time, and please be well.